So if I would have showed up today in sweatpants and a t-shirt, you probably would have thought that I was unprepared and I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. But today I'm going to teach you guys how to present yourself as a professional, such as if you're trying to make a good first impression, or maybe if you're going to a job interview or graduate school interview. So in order to do this, I'm going to be talking to you about the order that people perceive you in, starting with your appearance, and then your handshake, your body language, and then the way you talk. So, Psychology Today says that it takes a mere 7 seconds for someone to perceive a first impression of you. And Mind Tools Essential Skills for an Excellent Career states that your appearance is usually the first clue that he or she has to go on. So being that the appearance is the first thing you see, your clothes are extremely important. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the speech, if I wasn't dressed for the occasion, then y'all probably wouldn't think I had a lot of credibility. So you have to know how to dress for your audience, and if you are going to an interview, it's pretty safe to say that you're going to wear business attire, such as these two. It's important to notice too their hair. Her hair is pulled back neatly, and his is tidied up neatly as well. And if you did have your hair in your face, that might be incentive for you to mess with it, which is a sign of nerves. Along with that, just your makeup and even your nails. I really learned all these tips from my freshman FYSM, and even though that was a really long time ago, I remember Miss Hinman telling me this story about how one of her friends went for a job interview and her nails were all chipped and they had chipped nail polish on them. And she didn't get the job because the person just thought that was a sign of low hygiene and she wasn't taking care of herself, so that's not what she wanted for a company. So even little things like that, it's important to think about. The next thing is the handshake. We all know how important the handshake is. And according to the Spruce handshake etiquette, the firmness of your handshake is really important. You want to have a firm handshake, but not a crushing handshake. And if your handshake is a little more limp, it's kind of a sign of weakness. So just keeping that in mind. While you're making your handshake, eye contact is extremely important, and being on the same level as that person. So if you're already sitting down and somebody walks in, it's important for you to stand up and be on their level. Something I think also that people don't know about the handshake is how long to do the handshake for. You know, if you're shaking hands for a really long time, it starts to become awkward. So the rule of thumb is kind of 2 to 5 seconds, or the person you're meeting is probably superior to you, so just kind of following their lead for the time length. Body language. So according to careers.com, posture is very important with your body language. If you're having your back straight and you're kind of leaning forward a little bit in your chair, like you can see that he is, it shows that you're interested and that you are engaged in what they're saying. If you were kind of slumped back in your seat, it kind of gives the audience a sense that you're not really wanting to be there, maybe that you're bored. And then as far as your sitting position, I didn't really know this, but when I was researching it, they said to not cross your legs. This is more for ladies. I feel like guys don't really cross their legs. But if you're in this interview for a really long time and your legs are crossed, and then maybe your leg falls asleep and you have to reposition and recross your legs, that's a sign of fidgeting, which is nervousness. And just along with fidgeting, you should probably eliminate all forms of fidgeting. It's kind of different for each person. It could be popping your knuckles or messing with your hair, like I mentioned earlier. Just eliminating all that will show that you're more confident in your setting. And the last thing I have is your speech, which is pretty important. Saying things like like I just did, like saying and that shows that you're not really prepared and that you might be nervous. And it's okay to just pause and take a moment to form your answers. And in your answers, you shouldn't be overly prepared for them, because in an interview, they're just trying to get to know who you are. And so if you sound kind of robotic, they know that that's like not the real you. So I have hopefully given y'all the wisdom to prepare yourselves for future interviews. I shared the order in which people notice things about you, your appearance, and then the handshake, your body language, and finally, the way you talk. So I hope this helps y'all understand what people are looking for when you're going into a job, so you can better prepare yourselves for the future. Thank you.